Everybody have their notes. Not that I have any notes, but
I have like that many notes.
Oh, that's good though. I like that.
All four of them.
All right, you know what? I'm just gonna get this out of the way. David Corn Sweat is barefoot in this film, and I very much enjoyed it.
I knew it.
His, although his toes look really short for such a big guy, I was like, "What's happening here? I don't understand."
Yeah. His body proportions are slightly odd.
They are. I think it's because he's a beanpole that just gained a shit ton of muscle for this.
Yeah. He's a lot of
Basically.
trunk. He's a lot of trunk.
There's a long torso.
Yeah.
And I wonder if anything else is long. Anyway, all right, here we go.
Of course you do.
Here we go.
Orange sweet.
Hey, you want to watch some TV or something?
Skip it. Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Nothing but foul language and toilet humor.
I'm disgusted and repulsed and I can't look away.
I need these things! I need these things! Tell me, do you want to go? We're stopping on the color line.
Oh, no way, Jose.
This just in, go to hell.
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Hello, friends and listeners. You got Watch Skip Plus. We are a movie review podcast with a lifestyle twist, and that twist is we don't have a client list. I'm kidding. The twist is that we do a bonus review after we review a new streaming or theatrical film. My name is Jose, also known as Cupcake, and that is my co-host, Mike, also known as the WilDaBeast. And we have two guests, count them two. I think this is the first time we've had two guests since your tenure here.
Since I've started, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start with one of the squares, welcoming back Fakest of Shemps, Jeremy. He was our guest on our Oscar episode, so he is back. Jeremy, how you doing?
I am doing great. How are you guys?
Good. Excellent. Glad to have you back. And then welcoming back, obviously, one of our podfathers, Samurai from The Gentleman's Guide to Midnite Cinema. Sammy, how are you? Welcome back.
Hello. How are you, gentlemen?
Doing great, actually. Mike, what are we reviewing on this summer of blockbusters?
We are doing James Gunn's Superman.
Ooh, very, very excited. Very excited. Before I start, let me ask Jeremy, Fakest of Shemps, are you a huge Superman fan? Does this extend to the myriad television shows, other movies, and comic books?
Everything but Zack Snyder.
Oh,
I love
just
Big
died
Blue.
a little. I just
I love
died
Big
a little.
Blue.
Any particular run of the comic books or movies that you keep returning to?
My first love of Superman comes from being 5 years old or 6 years old, however old I was in 1978 when that came out. Probably didn't even see it for another year or two on TV, but that's always been where it started for me. That and then the Challenge of the Super Friends, and I've read
Oh yeah.
my fair share of Superman stories, but it's mostly Christopher Reeve in the movies that has lodged itself in my brain.
Got it. Sammy, what about you? Your connection to Superman.
So it is interesting. A comic book reader, grew up doing that. Still do it somewhat. Don't collect nearly as much as I used to. But it is interesting that Superman was really never a book or books that I ever really got into. Most of the stories, I mean, they were fine. There's some good ones. But yeah, for me, it was mostly Christopher Reeve. It was mostly the movies with Superman. Batman, total opposite. That was always the comic books. And, if I had to pound for pound put like a comic book character that really defined me, it was, as a kid, it was Batman. being I'm on camera on this podcast, so being as dashing as I am and looking just like Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, or just about anybody, you can see it. You can totally see it.
I can. I'm squinting. I can.
Yeah, it would even with a mask, I would give myself away with this beard I'm wearing. But those first two Superman films, and to a lesser degree, that third Superman film, were the genesis of Superman for me. And it's never really been a comic book character that I've really ever loved, but I find incredibly fascinating, if that makes sense.
Definitely, definitely. Mike, how about you?
My introduction was probably 7 or 8 with Superman 3 with Richard Pryor. To me, it really kind of solidified my love of silly comedic action movies. And so I just have always loved that kind of silliness. That's where it started for me. And then I got into comics as a child. We used to go to flea markets in the Carolinas, and I used to just spend hours buying nickel comics, as many I could buy for 5-10 cents. And yeah, Superman was one of those. I got lucky. I bought The Death of Superman in its black foil back when that came out. I sold that for a pretty penny when I was poor. I kind of wish I still had it, but yeah.
Well, it's not worth that pretty penny anymore.
No, I'm sure it's not. It was actually back in the day. I think I made like $100 on it, but
wow.
Nice. And for me, definitely Christopher Reeve. I mean, listen, I remember begging my parents to let me stay up and watch it on network television because, it was a long movie and like it would start at 8 and would go to 11 with commercials. And I would be like, I'm gonna finish it. But definitely that. And then I remember the reruns of the black and white Superman. I used to love those, leap a tall building in a single bound or whatever. And then I was very much obsessed with Smallville when that came on. I know a lot of people were like, ugh, after like season 4, I stopped watching. I watched it all. I loved it. I was obsessed with it.
I watched it all.
Every time I visit you, Jose, for you, Mike and Jay, for you that don't know, whenever Jose walks into a room, the theme song from Smallville plays. And it is a generational thing that I have finally met somebody whose first Superman film was Superman 3. And
yes,
that is a new one for me. Not that I look, it's a problematic film, but I enjoy it, especially the cybernetic robot lady thing.
Oh my God. That caused nightmares for me.
I have 20 minutes of it left on HBO Max right now.
Oh, okay. All
right. Don't finish it.
I'll stop. It's fun.
Actually, yeah. I think the end of it's the best part. Probably.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. Just don't move on to Quest for Peace. Anyway,
don't worry about 4.
So let's dive below the line. First of all, obviously, Superman writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster. The first appearance was in Action Comics #1 back in 1938. My God. And then we've also made reference to the fact that there's been a number of television shows. There was another one, I think, Lois and Clark with what's his face? He went all Trumpy, Dean Cain, and
there's another
Terry
Lois.
Hatcher.
Isn't there another one too?
There is another
Superman
one.
and Lois.
A most recent one, yes. And then there was also Superboy, I think, with I don't remember the name of the guy. I think it was like James Newton Howard, although that's the composer. But there was like 3 names to it, and then Stacey Heideck was in it. She's this gorgeous like redhead or whatever. I love that show. Our director and writer is James Gunn, and if you really, really want to dive deep on James Gunn, we did talk about him for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That is an episode that we had. But I think what's more important here for the James Gunn discussion is the fact that he obviously directed the Guardians of the Galaxy and he co-wrote it for Marvel. And that was such a huge, like, out of the box sort of superhero film. It was a property that nobody was really familiar with. So Gunn was able to sort of inject his sort of sensibilities into it. So we've got like classic rock music, we've got the humor, we've got the, just the quick action pacing that James Gunn is almost famous for, pretty much. I mean, if you look at his films like Slither, Super, he's actually had a comedy superhero movie before. But I think what's important to note here is that at some point, he was a victim of cancel culture. Gunn started as sort of his roots were in like Troma Pictures. He wrote Romeo and Juliet, and then he sort of was doing like these shorts. If you've never seen his webisodes, PG porn, they are hysterical. But at some point, these older sort of tweets of his resurfaced, and Disney cut ties with him and fired him as a director. And so there was a sort of vociferous kind of like, no, you can't do this. There were petitions.
It was the cast of Guardians that really stood up for him, wasn't it?
I think so, and an online petition as well.
Yeah.
The tweets were like comic things on like pedophilia and stuff like that. But again,
Stuff you would expect from the Romeo and Juliet guy.
Yeah. He has a very dark sense of humor. He has a very, very dark sense.
Very, very dark. But in the interim, by the time Disney and Marvel sort of came around, it took almost a year. DC had already scarfed him up, and he was poised to make the Suicide Squad, which was, oddly the sequel to Suicide Squad. So there's David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and then the Suicide Squad,
Right.
which is super confusing. I don't know what's happening here. But by the time he went back to finish his duties with Disney, Gunn had been advising David Zaslav on his takeover of HBO Max and Discovery, and that sort of like synthesis. And Zaslav was so jazzed by him and his long-stay producer Peter Safran, or Safran, however you want to call it, him, that he actually named the two of them the CEOs and the heads of DC Studios. And they unveiled this grandiose plan, they being Gunn and Safran, for a new chapter of DC. So, Jeremy, you had mentioned Zack Snyder. He started the quote-unquote Snyder-verse, and Snyder sort of went to the old regime at DC Studios and had concocted like these films. So we got Man of Steel, we got Batman versus Superman, we got Justice League, Joss Whedon, and then Justice League Zack Snyder. But I think a lot of people thought that was a little too dark. So here we have James Gunn and what he is calling the Gods and Monsters opening chapter of DC. This also includes other properties he's created. HBO Max's Creature Commandos, the Peacemaker series, which is going to be heading into season 2 later this summer. And then they're already planning like more DC spin-off movies and stuff. Yeah. Let me start with you. Go ahead, Sammy.
Clayface is coming out pretty soon, ain't it? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so. Is
of all of the things to do, this feels like something James Gunn has some kind of say in somehow, even though I don't know if 100% he's behind the genesis of that. It's not a new idea to give a villain a movie, but it is a very obtuse idea to give Clayface one, I have to say. I'm happy about it, but it's very odd. Also, let me say, I am disappointed that you said Zaslav was jazzed. Zaslav was clearly jazzloved when he heard.
Yes, he was. Quite.
And I am so jazzloved to be here. And also for Mike and Jay, so they don't know this, we have had so many conversations about Zaslav, Jose and I. It is behind the scenes.
I'm sorry.
He's kind of a corporate antichrist. But you know what? I eat up the shit that he pumps out, so it's fine. It's totally fine. It's all good.
As long as he stays jazzloved, I'm good.
Yes. Sammy, James Gunn, what's your feeling on him?
Well, you know what I like about James Gunn? I think you guys will probably agree with this. You know how, we got a lot of pop culture filmmakers of our kind of generation. I don't know how old Gunn is. He's mid-50s, going on close to 60 now? He's got to be up, which is crazy to think, by the way. And then, of course, I sat back and think, oh, yeah, Rick, you're not that far away yourself, buddy. But anyway, he's a derivative of some ways of like a Quentin Tarantino, but he is never as on the surface with pop culture references for me as Tarantino is. So he's Tarantino's his own special brand of thing, but James Gunn, he is kind of a more, some would argue he's not this, but I'm going to say he is. He's a little bit more subtle with the saturation of his pop culture stuff.
Yeah.
I like that. He has a nice feel for things, and that dark sense of humor is really what I also like. Like you always feel like he's on the precipice of going just a little too far with a joke, and he just pulls it back just a little bit. He's edgy enough and everything else, and he never goes too far. But for pretty much everything I've seen from him, I've liked. And I was one of those people that didn't see Slither until like I don't know. We reviewed it on the show, on the podcast that I do. We reviewed it some 4 or 5 years ago. That was the first time I had seen it, and I loved it. I'm like, why did I not watch this? But that's again a story that so many of us have, and will continue to have, hopefully, for the rest of our lives. But yeah, I'm excited when he does stuff, because you feel like he genuinely cares about whatever he does. I have to say, when they announced him and Superman, though, I was not excited, because I thought, what can James Gunn possibly do with Superman? More to come on that.
Absolutely. Jeremy, what's your take on James Gunn? Do you think he's a good fit to shepherd this new chapter of the DC studios?
I do. I am a fan of James Gunn. I probably didn't actually know his name until Slither. But Slither I saw twice opening weekend. I went and saw it, and then I immediately brought back friends the next day. And by the next weekend, it was gone. And it ended up being my favorite movie of that year. And so I immediately went and, whoa, what's James Gunn done? That's when I found out, oh my God, he made Romeo and Juliet. And so I went and I read his novel, The Toy Collector, which is an amazing, amazing piece of work. Very depressing, very dark. And I'm guessing somewhat autobiographical. And then I found out he also did the Scooby-Doos and the Dawn of the Deads, and everybody's got to eat. I get that. But once he did Guardians really showed that, first of all, he could handle a major a major Hollywood picture, not like this $10 million movies or anything. But he's one of the few people in Marvel that actually managed to get himself into the movie. Like, you watch Guardians of the Galaxy and you feel James Gunn all over those movies, for good or worse. Whereas I don't know that you see any Peyton Reed, as much as I actually like those Ant-Man movies. I don't know how much Peyton Reed's really in there outside of yelling action, Right. And Guardians of the Galaxy, big budget, whatever. I was pretty excited.
You think he's a good fit? You think he's a good fit for
because
DC?
he I do, because I like the way he brought the humanity to these characters, and I figured if he could do what he did at Marvel, bring it onto the DC shine, it would be better than any DC we've really had. I mean, DC hasn't really been a thing, other than the Snyder-verse,
It was to me.
Well, the Snyder-verse was a thing. I'm admitting that. But before that, it was, here's a Superman movie, here's a Batman movie,
Right. Right. The
Here's Shaq.
sort of Marvelization of the connected universe didn't quite work for them, I guess, that first time out. Mike, Jeremy talked about his singular voice. What are your feelings on Gunn?
Well, speaking of singular voice, when I first saw a picture of him, I thought he was Clay Aiken from American Idol. They look like spitting image of each other.
He and his brother do kind of look like Muppets, which is why I think they're sexy. But continue, Mike.
Yeah, first film was Slither. I saw in theaters opening weekend. It was really hyped. Loved it. Same as you. It was one of my favorite movies of that year. 2006, I think it came out. And then same as Super, as soon as that came out, it was their opening weekend. Had to go to our small little indie theater to see it. I've caught everything that he's seen in theaters the first weekend that he played theatrically, except sadly the Suicide Squad didn't play theatrically because it was during the pandemic. At least it didn't here. I didn't get it until I think it was HBO Max, or I don't remember.
I think so. I got in the theaters.
Yeah, so I've seen all of them in theaters except that. I'm a huge fan. And I was really excited to see what he did with the Guardians of Metropolis, and it's kind of what we got. And I really kind of enjoyed what he did. And we'll talk more about it.
Clever. I happen to love James Gunn. Jeremy, you mentioned Dawn of the Dead. that was where I really sat up and sort of recognized, I'm like, who the hell is this James Gunn dude? Because hey, Zack Snyder, it had a great look, but the script itself, the story was really damn good, and engaging. And so and then Slither, of course, I remember it was pitched as somebody said to me, it's really gooey, and I was like, oh, I'm ready to go. I love James Gunn. I'm a little worried that his singular voice, singular style could end up playing itself out, but more on that later. Okay, so just finishing this up really quickly, we've got our DP is Henry Braham. He is a British cinematographer. He started doing cinematography with a group called the KLF. Does anybody remember the KLF? So they're a music act. They're a music act, and they were originally the Time Lords, and they were behind that song, "Doctoring the TARDIS." Doctor Who, hey, Doctor Who, Doctor, and then they formed the band the KLF. KLF, You don't remember this? Oh my God, I played that album so many times. The KLF. Anyway. So look them up. They're great. Doctoring the TARDIS. We all love that. We scream that at like college basketball games, right? Anyway, but he has worked with James Gunn, I think ever since Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So they've collaborated together. He's a great cinematographer. We've got our music by John Murphy. John Murphy, great composer. Directors that he's worked with a lot are Guy Ritchie. So he's scored Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, and then he's also worked with Danny Boyle. So he scored 28 Days Later, also the sequel, not that Boyle was involved in that, Millions, as well as Sunshine. He's also worked with Michael Caton Jones for City by the Sea and Basic Instinct 2. I love that score. I also love that movie. I know everybody hates it, but it's great. And then Matthew Vaughn, Kick-Ass, of course. So great composer. He's also co-composing with David Fleming. Fleming often collaborates with what I call the Hans Zimmer incubator, but it's really technically called Remote Control Productions. And that's the Hans Zimmer company that he has like sort of a cadre of composers underneath him, like Otley Jorvison, Lauren Baff, Steve Jablonsky, Tom Holkenberg, also known as Junkie XL. Yeah. So I love the Hans Zimmer incubator. It's my favorite. And I think that's pretty much it. Any comments on our DP or music? Anybody?
Do you think the Hans Zimmer incubator, do you think every time the elevator door opens at that building that it sounds like
like the Inception? Right.
Or it could be the steel drums he used in the 90s all the time. He's got three distinct styles of every decade. He's changed it up.
Okay, so this is a super loaded cast. We could spend hours on this cast, but feel free, guys, to just jump in here. David Corenswet, I think a lot of us saw him either in Pearl. That's where I sort of took notice of him. He was sort of like the rapey projectionist. Others saw him in Ryan Murphy series. I hate Ryan Murphy, so I don't watch these shows, but he apparently was in 2 Ryan Murphy shows, The Politician and then Hollywood. I don't know if there's a casting couch thing, but hey, Dave Cornsweet, he's super hot. Obviously, this is where we're all going to learn about him. He kind of showed up in Twisters, as well as there's a political film called Affairs of State that is streaming. He's not bad in it. Sammy, thoughts on David Cornsweet?
Twisters is the funny one because he's like a foot taller than anybody else on the cast.
Oh my God. They're all so shrimps compared to him. It was, they're all like, what do we do?
In a button-up shirt, he's playing a jerk, and you're thinking to yourself, well, there has to be some type of plot twist with this character because, I mean, they couldn't have choreographed it more. Like, it's like, oh my God. But anyway.
Yeah, he was basically just the corporate douchebag.
Yep.
Jeremy, thoughts on Cornsweet?
I liked Pearl and I liked Superman.
There you go.
So far, so good.
WilDaBeast?
Yeah, I like him in what I've seen. I've seen him in a little movie that was on Hulu. I had to look it up. It's called The Greatest Hits. It's like a weird kind of go back in time via music thing, but he was really fun in it. Rom-com.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. I saw that film too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Lucy Boynton. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. It was okay. I mean, it was decent.
Musical
It was
time
good,
travel
and it's-
romance. Yeah.
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 I should also mention he was on We Own the City, which was about the gun trace task force in my hometown, Baltimore. He played David McDougal, the investigator. So I don't know. I guess he's rife to, break through the pop culture zeitgeist.
That's probably where he started getting beefy because he had to avoid Bernthal's scenery chewing.
Yes. Yes.
And he give him
Definitely.
cause, so he's turned his neck a lot to get away because Bernthal's always.
Hamming it up.
Always. Well, I love me some Bernthal. He's great. Also, Corn Sweat has really nice arches. And moving on to Rachel Brosnan, our Lois Lane. Many know her as the marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I caught wind of her. I loved her in House of Cards. Felt really bad for her character. She got done dirty in those first 2 seasons. But beautiful actress. Mike, thoughts on Rachel Brosnahan? Sorry.
Yeah, I thought she was really great in this, and I haven't seen her in too much. I never watched anything of that, but gosh, if she wasn't like damn near perfect in this role, out of all of the Lois Lanes that we've got, she's got to be right under Margot Kidder for me. But I'm not really that familiar with a lot of her other stuff. But man, she really blew me away in this one.
Jeremy, Miss Brosnahan, have you experienced?
I know very little of her work. I obviously know to watch The Marvelous Miss Maisel whenever I get around to it. But the only thing I'd ever really seen her in was what was that? Quibi? Is that what it was? Quick Bites?
Quibi.
Sam Raimi had a show on Quibi called like the 50 States of Fear.
Yes.
And I only made it through one of them. It was the first one, and she starred in it, and she was fine. It wasn't particularly great or anything. And I think she was in The Amateur with Rami Malek, and I think she gets fridged. And again, it's not, there's nothing there for me to go to really judge her on. I will say, as far as Lois Lane, nails it.
Yes. I'm going to say Rachel Brosnahan, she is British and Irish by descent. She's gorgeous. She is also the niece of Kate Spade, the handbag designer, because Kate Spade, née Catherine Noel Brosnahan, married Andy Spade, who's the older brother of David Spade. But anyway, Sammy,
I thought you was going to say because she's related to her, she's got great bags. I thought that's what you was going to say. But anyway, I'm Jazzloft, guys. The truth is, I saw her recently in Walter Hill's tragically digital-looking Western "Dead for a Dollar."
Yeah,
it's a good film. Yeah, it is a good film. It's the world we live in now, where Walter Hill's got to make a $10 million Western with digital.
Yeah.
And,
to be fair, after that thing with Michelle Rodriguez, that anybody gave him money is a miracle.
Oh,
yeah, that I haven't seen that one yet. I need to fire that up. I need to check that out.
It's so bad.
It's very bad,
Sam. It's very bad.
I'll check it out. Bad does not mean not watch for me. We know that.
True.
Yeah, I like her. I do. I mean, I can't think of anybody else. I'm glad that it was her and not like one of the It actresses right now. Let's put
Anya Taylor-Joy or like
somebody like
Julia Garner.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or Julia Garner's a good one. What was the what's another one I could think of off the top of my head? Well, obviously Florence Pugh.
Miley Cyrus. I would have seen Miley Cyrus
or Kate Bosworth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow.
I love Kate Bosworth. Actually, I'm a big Blue Crush guy, but she's like 10 years too young to play Lois Lane in that movie.
Yeah, I forgot about canceled Singer's adaptation of that. I did like Brandon Routh as Superman. I will say that. In terms of Lois,
let me say this about Brosnahan though. It feels like for me, she's been around forever now. Like yeah, she pops up in just like weird things that I see that like on cable or on streaming or anything else.
Another marker of oldness
on that wired TV service. But Now she pops up on, things like I remember seeing her in an episode of Orange is the New Black. She popped up in an episode of Grey's Anatomy. She popped up here. She popped up there. And I remember thinking, man, she is really working her ass off to get to where she wants to be.
She's
and
popping.
bravo to her. She's done it. I think this is really her first, this is her first big film. And I don't know what it ended up making, but it had to have made good money because even my theater was packed.
I think it's poised to make 123 million this weekend. But in terms of Lois Lane, I don't think any of the he's going to be jizzloved at this point. But when it comes to Lois Lane, I don't think anybody beats Margot Kidder, honestly. But I'm going to say this, and as everybody knows, I am a flaming homosexual. But
You don't say. Wait. Let's rewind. We've never heard.
Surprise. I'm gonna step into my phone booth and change into my homo costume. Hi, I'm gay. Anyway, but I really thought not only was she sexy, but I thought she was just clever and gorgeous and wonderful. Erica Durance. She played Lois Lane in Smallville.
Oh yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Was she fit the bill? Like made you forget about Margot Kidder, and she was absolutely gorgeous to watch. Love that girl.
The truth is Brosnahan, I also found out from watching this film, this is going to be a long episode for you watch Skip listeners, by the way, because I got a lot to say. Evidently,
love it.
about anything.
Good.
I found out I found out she's bow-legged. And hey, here's the swimming with bow-legged women. I mean, I'm down with that, man.
I didn't notice the bow legs. Maybe if she wore shorts like Manuel Garcia Rolfo did in Jurassic Park, I would have watched her legs
You need
more.
to put your gay costume away because you're not looking past like Brosnahan, like neckline, like the three of us are.
I know. I'll work on that, folks.
Work on that.
We've got Nick Holt as Lex Luthor. I didn't think anybody could beat Jesse Eisenberg. I love Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. But of course, we all think about Gene Hackman, though. Gene Hackman.
Yeah, I got to interrupt you.
I know.
Jesse Eisenberg as Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor.
It is true. It is absolutely true.
He's Jesse Eisenberg playing Jesse Eisenberg / Woody Allen / Jesse Eisenberg as
Tom Cruise /
I disagree.
Future.
Don't get me wrong. There are some Jesse Eisenberg performances I really like. I really like that environmental terrorist film he did.
Oh, Lynn Shelton, right?
Yeah. Nobody talks about that movie. That movie's amazing.
The East. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but
Was it? Wait, no.
it was great.
We will have to look it up.
Yeah, it was.
But of course, what can I say? Gene Hackman, right? After he played the role, it was hard to really see anybody else as Lex Luthor. Didn't Kevin Spacey play Lex Luthor in the canceled?
He was. Yeah, I mean, he was
good.
He was
I remember he was pretty good. Yeah, I haven't seen Superman Return in a while, but I remember Spacey was quite good in that, and that's what the film needed because Brandon Routh was, he was a newbie, and it needed a really good heavy to help him, and it did. I remember it helped him quite a bit.
Night Moves. It was called the Eisenberg environmental thriller is called Night Moves, but not the Gene Hackman Night Moves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got Hackman, you got Eisenberg, you got Spacey, and now you got Holt. Those are the
And Holt. So Holt's been on our show before, Renfield and The Menu. Actually, he's probably a former It boy who's still itting, if that's a word. We've seen him in a ton of stuff, comic book stuff, Mad Max Fury Road. He was so great in that. Nosferatu. There's a streamer, The Juror #2, which he's fantastic in. Fakest of Shemps. What do you think about Nick Holt?
I am very loyal. If I fall in love with someone at a young age, I'm probably just going to follow them throughout their career. And Nick Holt started About a Boy with Hugh Grant. Yep. So I've been paying attention to that kid for a long time. And he disappeared for me while he was on Skins over in the UK.
Skins
didn't really know
was
much about
so
him.
good.
And it wasn't until I think Bryan Singer cast him as the lead in Jack the Slayer, which is not a very good movie at all. But it's not Holt's fault.
Right.
But I was pretty excited to hear him cast, even though like I said, I'm not a Snyder-verse fan, but I am a Jesse Eisenberg fan. So having Jesse Eisenberg as Lex was fun for me.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think about Nick Holt?
Man, I'm a big fan. I've liked, like he said, I've liked him since About a Boy and followed him throughout his career. I loved him in Warm Bodies. I think that is just,
That's
my
the
love
one
for
where I
comedy
fell in love with
horrors.
him.
Oh God, he's so perfect in that. And then I liked him his turn as Beast in the X-Men franchise as well. I think that he's really quite good. And I was waiting for him to get something a role that would get him back into the spotlight. And this is it. I mean, he's got this role, and man, we'll get into it more, but man, did he blow this out of the water. He was
Yeah.
so good. And
Definitely.
he's a great little actor.
Sammy, what do you think of Nick Holt?
A little streamer named Juror Number 2 is directed by Clint Eastwood. I don't know if we
Yeah, I wasn't little.
Who's Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
That's exactly what all the employees at my job would say because they're all 30 years younger than me.
Yeah. Little streamer is what I'm called when I use the bathroom at concerts. But either way, the truth is you know what he really is? He's really good at, I'll tell you, he's good at going big and then dialing it back. And James Gunn gives him he gives him the whole run here.
Yeah.
And I was impressed with that. I was really, now I've always liked him. I still like him. And I love About a Boy as well. I think that's actually one of that era of Hugh Grant films. That's actually one of the best. I mean, that is top notch Hugh Grant stuff for those. And of course, I'm in love with Toni Collette, and I will
Toni
be.
Collette.
Yeah. I mean, I will be until the day I die. There's just no way around that. But
Yeah, same.
Nicholas Hoult, I've always had my eye on. But yeah, like Fury Road, he's just big, right? And then some other films, he's just big, and then some other films, he's quiet. But this one, he gets to do it all. And I wasn't really bought completely as Luther. I did find him intimidating until the Luther speech, which is
Oh my God. Yeah, we will definitely get to that. Like, Sammy, it's funny you mentioned that too, because I was like, oh, and then it happens and it's like, okay, he's great. Yeah. All right, let me flip through this cast just really, really quickly, and you guys, you can chime in also.
I only got one that I want to mention, but I'll wait till
Go
you
for it. No, you go ahead. Who do you want to mention?
I mean, I have to mention this actor because a lot of people don't know him. He's popped up in Hollywood movies lately, off and on. He's a Czechoslovakian actor, or former Czech Republic actor, I guess I should say. And Czechoslovakia doesn't exist anymore, does it? Again, showing my age. Yeah.
Wah, wah.
This is Zlatko Berlich.
The Baravian
like
president.
Yeah. So he, for those, recently was in Triangle of Sadness, which a lot of people saw.
Yes.
That's where I recognized him from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
For Gentleman's Guide to Midnite Cinema listeners, he is forever always going to be one of the main heavies of the Pusher trilogy.
Yes, with Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes, and
That's right.
he has what is one of my favorite performances, which is in Pusher 3, which is mostly focused on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he is so good. Milo is his name, or Milo, or but Milo. Flunky. You hear me and Will still to this day do the joke sometimes when we do Eastern European accents, like flunky. Because of the Pusher movie. But if you've never seen Pusher 1 through 2, you don't even Pusher 1, Pusher 2, they're kind of standalone films. You don't have to watch actually all three. You can just kind of go right to Pusher 3 and watch it as a standalone film. It is insane. I can't recommend people check it out. It goes places that you do not expect. So
Yes.
definitely check it out.
Yeah, that's Nicholas Winding Refn, right?
Yeah, that guy.
It's Pusher. Yeah, that guy. The Drive guy. As
Yeah,
people...
the guy that interviewed William Friedkin and said his own movie was a masterpiece, and Friedkin was like, "Nurse, call it." Is there a doctor in the house?
Oh my God, that is insane.
Yeah.
Well, which one did he call a masterpiece?
Only God Forgives.
Fuck him.
The movie that Zack Snyder was like, "Hey Nick, you're using slow-mo too much."
Yes, even Zack Snyder. All right, so just running through this cast really quickly, we've got Alan Tudyk lends his voice to one of the robots here. Alan Tudyk, we love him. Firefly. He's currently on Resident Alien. If you do not watch that,
So
you
fun.
need to. He is hysterical in it. Eddie Katigi. This is an actor that I've had my eye on. I've seen him in everything. People probably know him from like Twilight, but he's been on TV. I believe it was Blacklist with James Spader, and he plays Mr. Terrific, and I'm so happy that he's finally getting like some recognition, which is
Well,
great.
I'm so happy that they did Mr. Terrific right, because he's a tough character to pull off outside of comics or animated. I was a little worried. They actually give him a lot more humor here than Mr. Terrific has ever had that I recall in comics.
So I have no basis to base his performance on, but I thought he was great. I thought the character was great. Jimmy Olsen is played by Skylar Gisondo. I love this kid. I'm obsessed with him. He's adorable. He's funny. He's sweet. Many will know him from the reboot remake something of Vacation, which is where I think a lot of people like kind of took notice of him. Very
Licorice
young
pizza,
talent.
man. Licorice pizza.
My wife
Very
worked
young
with
talent,
him
but-
before, and he's so sweet. He wrote her little love letters whenever she'd bring his checks. Because my wife works in production accounting, and he did a little film called Time Freak that she did here in Utah, and he used to write her little love letters. He is just the sweetest, nicest, most gentle little actor, and she still to this day loves him and just talks about him being the best.
That is something only actors can do. If you do that at your job, folks, be prepared. HR will be calling you.
Yes, exactly. We've also got Wendell Pierce. People know him from like Suits. Beck Bennett, an SNL guy. He's in background. Pruitt Taylor Vince, who I absolutely love as an actor. He has that signature sort of like nystagmus that he was born with, where his eyes kind of like move. But you know, Pruitt Taylor Vince, Heavy, Constantine, Identity. He's so good in James Mangold's Identity. Frank Grillo is in there playing Rick Flag. I don't know. He's credited as Rick Flag Sr., so I'm a little confused.
Right.
But we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that too. Also, I'm confused by how much hair gel it took to hold his hair up. But
it was a lot.
I mean, man, Frank Grillo.
Did he apply for that job? Hello.
He is, again, that's somebody Jose and I talk about sometimes behind the scenes. He's a 60-year-old man at this point.
Looking good.
Yeah, looking good. But this was the first time, kind of like Tom Cruise recently, where I was like, oh, I see it. I see the 60 now.
Yeah.
With Tom Cruise, we've been talking about that forever, but with Tom Cruise, like the last Reckoning film, I was like, oh, this guy is going to be ageless. And then between that and the next film, I was like, what happened?
Yep.
Right. Exactly. We've also got Isabella Merced. She plays Hawk Girl. She was in my favorite, Madam Web. But she's been making a name of herself lately. She was in Alien Romulus. She's been appearing on a ton of stuff. The Last of Us season 2, I believe. That's her. That's in it. The girlfriend, the would-be girlfriend. Of course, I have to mention Nathan Fillion. He has worked with James Gunn a lot. I love Nathan Fillion. Castle, Firefly, White Noise. Yeah, I liked him in White Noise.
Yeah,
White Noise 2.
Oh, right. That's what I'm sorry. White Noise 2. Got it. Directed by Patrick Lussier. Thank you very much. Love White Noise 2.
Nice pull. But when I heard that he was getting cast as Guy Gardner, I did not see it at all.
Me neither, man.
Maybe because of the haircut. That haircut is acne. I could not
So Jose, to give you an example, and Mike, I don't know how many comics you read, but I know Jay reads them, and I know I've read them most of my life as well. But Guy Gardner is a full comic book character. Like, that is a cult comic book character if there ever was one. Some folks absolutely love that character. Some folks absolutely loathe that character. So I was like, I can see why they cast him, but he's probably not going to be the Guy Gardner I like, which is a true jerk. But he kind of is.
It's a good balance, actually.
but he's a charming jerk. He's more charming than the Guy Gardner I remember from the comics, anyway.
I was really worried about it when you watch the trailers, because everything Nathan Fillion does in those trailers seems pretty goddamn goofy. And I expect Guy Gardner to be goofy, but I also need him to be taken a little seriously. He is a Green Lantern after all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they struck that balance pretty good.
Yeah, he's a very interesting comic book character because he's both a little goofy and like completely dangerous. It's a very fine line, and like he is a very cult character. I mean, so they pulled it off. I mean, I think Nathan Fillion pulled. In some ways, in my screening, he stole the movie for a lot of the
Yeah.
kids. A lot of
They love
Mr.
my
Terrific.
audience loved him.
Yeah, Mr. Terrific and him. They loved those two characters.
So the last person I'm going to shout out, because I don't think a lot of people recognized him, and it took me a while to figure out who he was, playing Metamorpho, who I thought was going to be like the Martian Manhunter, but whatever, it is what it is. Oh, and the little Martian baby too. Anyway, but playing Metamorpho is Anthony Kerrigan. Many will know him from his striking appearance. He's pale skinned, bald. I believe he does have the alopecia areata. Yeah, that's it. Where basically he doesn't have hair on his body, basically. But many will know him from Barry, where he played NoHo Hank. And then, of course, in the recent Death of a Unicorn, he was hysterical as the sort of like loyal butler who was sort of like, wow, what's happening? But yeah, I was happy to see Anthony Kerrigan in a performance, but albeit again he's done these roles where he's under like makeup and stuff. Sammy, what do you think about Anthony Kerrigan?
I like him. I like he's got a unique look, and that works. I mean, obviously, if he'd have been a bigger star, I mean, he could easily have played Lex Luthor, right? I mean,
yeah,
he's like, I don't mean to be mean, but he's like tailor made for the role.
Yeah.
Great arches. Outside that baby also had great arches. No, the
Joey.
I do like him. He's he has the potential to become like one of those cult actors. You know what
Yes. Yeah.
He really does.
Like a David Dastmalchian. There's other cult actors like him, like, but that's the only one that I could think of off the top of my head. Who, by the way, has had some history with James Gunn as well, Dastmalchian.
Yeah. Polka Dot
All right.
Man.
So who wants to step up first and take their spoiler-free thoughts? I feel like it has to be brief because there's so much going on in this movie. Who wants to go first with their spoiler-free thoughts on Superman? Not all at once, folks. Because
let's start with Jay. Let's start with Jay.
So ultimately, I got to say I came down very positive on this. I do have some quibbles at the end of the day. I've heard it described as a big cartoon as a negative, and I think it's a big cartoon, and I take it as a positive. So I think that kind of sums up it nice and succinctly, for me.
Well, let me ask you this: cartoon or comic book, right? There's like a comic book versus a cartoon.
No, more like a cartoon, but like watching, like a Superman cartoon, just that Superman happened to have flesh.
Yes, got it. Okay,
plenty of moments in that, and plenty of moments in that finale where he's the only thing that has flesh. So it pretty much is a cartoon.
Yeah. So, do you like this? First of all, one, as a reboot in some ways, and then two, as the first chapter of this Gods and Monsters era of DC Studios?
Yes, I think it's as good a start as one could hope, coming from what they've had to overcome. As far as, I mean, everything of the films, James Gunn. I was worried that when I saw the movie, I really enjoyed it, but it didn't, I don't know how to describe it. It didn't sink its hook into me completely. I still walked out of it going, I mean, it's good. It's completely solid, but there's something that's still maybe a little too corporate about it. There's still a lot of setup for things to come, even though you can watch it without knowing that, but at the end of the day, I feel like if I walked into a comic book store, looked in a dollar bin, pulled out a 6-issue run of Superman, this was a good 6-issue run of Superman.
Yeah, that's a good.
Actually, that's a good take. I'll go next with my sort of short, spoiler free. I'm never short, just in height, folks, and whatever. I was about to say something else, but
Yeah. I think you know.
yeah. Jeremy, it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that like it was missing something, and I think what you're getting at is Superman is such a storied sort of like character, and many of us think about how we felt looking at those Christopher Reeve films, and there was this sense of grandiosity and like gravitas to Superman. And what's interesting is that that's not this. We get dropped in the middle of a story. I was like, if I have to see another origin story, I'm gonna seriously like cut my eyes out, like Greek tragedy style. So it's nice that we didn't have to go through that whole like, well, he's a little baby and then he grew up and he learned how to, So it's interesting that we got dropped into it, but it is missing some of that like awe, that sort of befits the character in some ways because he is so all powerful. Maybe not the Jesus Christ figure that Snyder was making him, but I think a benefit to this film is we get dropped in the middle. It has a lot of like Big Trouble in Little China energy, right? I know that there's a criticism that there's maybe too much going on in here, too many characters, too many things going on. Like if you go back and listen to our Black Adam episode, I was exhausted because every 5 minutes there was a new character and then a new battle and then like all of this stuff. I was worried that it was going to be a little bit like that, but it chugs along at a really, really good pace, and the comedy helps. Once again, we get another superhero movie where the stakes are the world's going to end, right? And by the way, I would never move to Metropolis. There's some kind of calamity, besieging that city. Like I would never move there. But of course we get the whole world's going to end if we don't like save or whatever. But it tied together really well. There's probably a little too much going on, but it's a blast. It's a fun adventure. I saw it in 3D. The 3D was completely worth it. I'm just going to also say this, because they dropped us in the middle of this story, I don't know quite how I feel yet about David Corenswet as Superman. We're obviously going to be reestablishing our relationship with this character, but I like what he put in here. I like the vulnerability, I am an alien, but I'm also human too. And some of the twists that went into, is he, isn't he, the sort of explanation of why people are throwing things at his head from the trailer. I liked that in the story. I love Lois Lane. I love the relationship. Nathan Fillion is great here. There's some humor bits here that really, really like just had me laughing out loud. I don't know how I feel about Hawkgirl just yet. But I do love this idea of a Justice League something or other coming. So yeah, I really did like this.
You're in.
It may have some flaws, but I love it. I really did like this. Sammy, you're next. What do you got?
I liked it too. I liked it quite a bit. I was actually kind of surprised. I'll tell you what James Gunn did here. Superman is a Christ parable in a lot of ways, right? I mean, that kind of goes back to the comics. That kind of goes back to the whole idea. What I like what he did here was this is really even more so than even the Christopher Reeve performance, which is, I mean, we often joke about this, who's your Bond, who's your this, who's your that. I mean, Christopher Reeve will always be my Superman, but I like that he was very human here, and without us having a whole Smallville sequence. I like that they made him human with some kind of silly stuff like goofy punk rock and things like that. I'm punk rock, stuff like that, and I like that. I like the fall interview type sequence. I thought that was pretty good because it was kind of a relationship fight mixed with them trying to do the right thing. Of course, there's obviously some serious integrity issues there with reporting, which has always been kind of a part of the Superman world in a way. Kind of what carries over into the Spider-Man world as well, right? But I am glad we didn't get an origin story. I am glad, even though I have to say The stunt casting of Bradley Cooper as Zor-El is, whatever. I mean, I was just like, really? I mean, that's
Yeah, I know. I know. I was like,
James
what's
Gunn
going
has
on?
friends in high places.
yeah. Tell me something. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, wait,
Hey,
we're
Mike-
getting a song there.
Mike sang Joyride last episode. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing: if I'm James Gunn, I cast Lady Gaga as his wife, and boom,
Yeah.
that's an inside joke. And I was like,
There you go. That's perfect.
Swing and a miss, James Gunn. So no, I was that was really literally the only moment where I was like, me and my son went and saw it. We had a good time. We really did. The movie was good. I tell you, the scene of the kaiju creature getting its eyeballs attacked really drove the audience I was with crazy. Like
Yes.
that's that fine line of humor that James Gunn has. He does that a lot in Slither, right? Where it's just gross enough where you're like, oh, that is really bothering me. But I thought it was really funny when Guy Gardner created that thing that just kind of just kept poking.
Oh my God, the little eye fucker thing. It was crazy.
Like, it was so crazy. Like, I wouldn't buy Funko Pops, but I would totally buy a Funko Pop of the eye fucker as Jose.
Yeah, man. And then Hawk Girl got stuck in the eyelids, and she's like, I'm stuck in the eyelid.
Yeah. And then that kaiju sequence is also, it's a really good way of showing how James Gunn does things too, because it's both awful what happens with the kaiju character and both funny. And it's his sense of humor, right? It borders on dark.
Totally.
There's one sequence in here. Don't get me wrong. I like the Mr. Terrific stuff. I love the Guy Gardner stuff. Hawkgirl really just kind of flies around and screams most of the time. But I mean, they don't give her a lot of funny moments really. But there's one sequence in here, the sequence I really like, and it seems like a throwaway sequence, but I think it's actually really cool. And I want to see if you guys agree. The Justice Gang is fighting like a Beholder, like a giant Suicide Squad, like a Starro type thing in the background. And during this time, Superman's really at a crossroads, personally. And he's kind of talking with Lois, and, he's kind of realizing, his feelings and things like that. This is the stuff that James Gunn does really well. It's a serious moment, but she keeps looking out the window like,
should you be out there?
Shouldn't you? She even says that at one point. Shouldn't you?
Yes. And he's like, they got it handled. But you know what? You're right. That is James Gunn's sensibilities to a T, because there's that serious moment between them, the relationship sort of like defining kind of what are we to each other. And this crazy shit is happening in the background with the big hammer and what, and I'm howling with laughter and I'm missing dialogue because I can't stop watching.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, they're going to end this sequence with a funny Guy Gardner thing. Because another thing Guy Gardner does do in the comics sometimes is he creates funny things, which they didn't do. They did eventually do the funny Guy Gardner thing toward the end with the middle fingers and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty great. But that's the sensibility that this Superman movie needed. To bring Superman into the modern era. Look, Zack Snyder gave it a shot. I like Henry Cavill. I know I like him a lot more than Jose does. I won't die on a hill for Man of Steel, but I enjoy aspects of it. I like the way it looks sometimes. I like the Kevin Costner thing a little bit. Maybe that's just because I like Kevin Costner. I don't know. I've watched it a couple times. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But it's neither here nor there. You know what I mean? I don't even really remember him in Justice League much. I remember that mostly as a Batman Cyborg movie. And the problem I had with Justice League was I really didn't like the Cyborg performance. I really didn't like it. It was so serious. It was like, oh my God, please give this guy, give him I don't know, put something in his rear.
An eye fucker.
Yeah, give him an eye fucker. Give him something, because he is so stuck. I mean, I get it, man. Batman is the character that lives in the past more than any other character. But even Batman was looking at Cyborg like, dude, get over it, man.
Lighten up.
Yeah,
lighten up, Richard III.
Yeah, like Warren O said, lighten up, Francis. The truth is, this is who Superman needed. It needed James Gunn, and this goes back to what I talked about. I was not excited about the prospect of this at all. Because I thought, James Gunn, you've performed magic a few times. You've done it with great, B-level, C-level characters with Suicide Squad and Guardians. You can't do this with Superman. You won't be able to handle this because you won't be able to do the James Gunn things you want to do. Somehow he did it. And that's the most impressive thing about this movie to me. It's not an amazing movie, but it's a damn good superhero movie for what it is. I will say though, what Jay said earlier a little bit, by the time it gets to the climax of this film, the narrative climax is peaking. I got so sick of the CGI fights. Oh my God. And this was the big problem I had with Black Adam, right? Like Black Adam was like, oh my God.
Almost all of them at this point.
Yeah. And this one, if I have to see a character grab another character by the ankle and swing them back and forth and do the Hulk thing, and he does it like 10 times in this film. If he doesn't do it, Ultraman does it. And we'll get into the Ultraman aspect of the story too, and spoilers probably. But I didn't like that. I just didn't like that. I saw it coming a mile away. I was like, well, if it's not Doomsday, who can beat Superman? Just ask yourself the question, people. And you'll
honestly.
I was surprised. Damn it! I know. I was surprised. Damn it!
But here's the problem. The problem is I'd seen Superman 4. I'd seen that cinematic travesty or whatever you want to call it, and I had seen that, and I thought to myself, well, he's going to bring in a little bit of everything, isn't he? And I was like, well, he hasn't brought any Superman 4 in here yet. Oh, wait a minute. He is going to bring that in here. Here we go. I found one of your hairs, Superman. But
was it in a Coke can?
It's my. It was in a urinal, one of those concerts I went to.
Little streamer.
Yikes.
Little streamer. Rise again, little streamer. Is that no, that's Little Dreamer. That's the White Lion song. Anyway, the truth is, this is a good superhero movie, a great summer movie, a great blockbuster movie, and bravo to James Gunn. I mean, he's pulled it off again. This guy's I think he's got a pretty magic touch, because I didn't even want to see Suicide Squad, and then I watched it, and I quite enjoyed Suicide Squad. I mean,
yeah,
this is better than Suicide Squad, I think, but I quite enjoyed that. And he took, again, B characters and everything and just made them fun, and he does that really well. The filmmaking's pretty good. I do think there's a little too much of the difference between light and dark in this film is a little harsh. Like, I mean, when it's dark, it's really dark. But when it's light, it's super light. Like, it's like, whoa, the sun is out like full tilt all the time. No clouds in the sky.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because I failed to mention in my spoiler-free thoughts that it's funny that some people, Jeremy, sorry, we're not into the Snyder-verse. Oh, it's so dark, it's so serious. But like the darker elements here, it's what was in the Snyder-verse. And so it's kind of interesting, the fact that, Gunn balances it with, like you said, Sammy, so much light and so much comedy that it sort of overshadows the whiplash of the darker elements. Yeah. There is a moment we will definitely get to in the spoiler section where it was kind of like, oh God, they went there. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of James Gunn moments.
Certainly.
Actually, one involving a gun, oddly enough, which is a great moment with a great punchline. Let's go. I'll find somebody else you care about. That's a great moment. There's a lot of good stuff like that, but the course, Corn Sweat is new. They have to cast a good villain to carry Corn Sweat because he's new. He is wearing a Superman suit, and he will, whether he likes it or not, he will forever be Superman now. That's the problem with being one of these characters. One of these characters, the big ones, the Batmans, the Supermans, the Captain Americas, and everything else, is no matter what you do, everything you do after that, that's what people mostly see you as. But Nicholas Hoult does a good job of being the heavy that he needs to be. I don't mind all the interaction with the characters. I do think they do it a little too often. Highlighting Mr. Terrific was a great choice because he's just such a kind of a great, and this is where James Gunn's strengths are. He's such a cult kind of superhero, for lack of a better word. He fits right in James Gunn's alley when it comes to this stuff. Him, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl. There's a lot of great DC characters. Like, if there's anybody that should make a Justice League Society film for DC, it's definitely James Gunn. Yeah. And I know Jake, and I know he's picking up what I'm putting down there because Those are odd characters.
They're his characters.
Yeah,
they're
they're
the
his
characters he would want.
Yeah, those are the characters he would want. And they're very cult-like characters, and that's really kind of a heavy, deep kind of comic book geek thing. But he nailed this, and I was surprised. Not now, I should say, for the record, I think Bryan Singer nailed it pretty good too. I mean, I like the Bryan Singer film. You know, Bryan Singer's not exactly he's not a name a lot of people want to talk about anymore for obvious reasons. But I think that film was a much better Superman film than people gave it credit for. It was better than the Zack Snyder ones. There's no doubt. This is just a long way of me saying I had a hell of a time watching a Superman movie. Even though Christopher Reeve is my Superman, this is as human as I have ever felt about Superman. I'm pretty sure he cries in this film. Well, I mean, Pruitt Taylor Vince, he cries, and then I almost cry because I'm there with my son.
So good.
Oh, no, he is so good. Like that is what a character actor brings to a film. He is
let alone, you didn't see, Pa Kent isn't Kevin Costner. He isn't John Schneider. Ma isn't Lana Lang from Superman 3.
Ma's not Diane Lane, I'll tell you that. That was an interesting take on Ma Kent.
When you read the comics, they feel like they're pretty much almost grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were so good. Neva and Pruitt were just perfect as Kents. Yeah. I love the accent.
Yeah, there's a couple moments that I got nervous with the way the rest of the film was going to go, and it mostly took place in the beginning there. It was the crypto moment, the first crypto moment. None of us have talked about crypto yet, but crypto is very significant to this film, so you be prepared. Yeah. A lot of crypto here. A lot of crypto. And there's a moment where he's doing the crypto thing, which my son loved because he has a Labrador that's 3 years old, and that's what dogs that are 3 years old do. They're huge, and they don't think they're huge, and they just pounce on you and do things like that. That was a little nervous there, and then I was a little nervous with the Ma Kent talking to the phone close. I mean, I did think it was funny because that is what older people do at this point in life. But the truth is, this is the best Ma and Pa Kent. This really is.
Far.
I mean, Glenn Ford was Pa Kent, I think, in the first or the second film. I mean, jeez. I mean,
maybe the most relatable, out of all the films, because, the Kents always kind of come in and they've already got this wisdom and they're like, well, son, to save the world, but this is the most relatable, like Ma and Pa Kent, right?
Yeah. And maybe that's why he went with the Bradley Cooper thing for the Jor-El thing. Maybe that's why. This is all me having fun saying that, this is a damn good Superman movie. Not my favorite Superman movie, but it's definitely in the middle, and it's quite good. It's quite good.
Yeah,
it's good.
And WilDaBeast, you're up.
I'll finish up before we get to spoilers. For me, this was the closest I felt to being a 10-year-old and opening up a comic. I love that it starts and you jump right in. That to me is brilliant. And I've said it several times to friends. Out of all the comic book movies we've got, this one feels, breathes, smells like a comic book. Everything from the deep characters, I had to explain to my kids who Mr. Terrific was. They had to, you have to explain these things. But at the same time, I felt like you don't. And I should have said, okay, kids, just watch, you'll figure it out. But it's one of those movies where the characters that you don't know, you get to know. And then the ones you do know, there's enough little twists. Like, talk about Rizondo. I loved what he did with Jimmy. I loved the Riz that he had with that character and how all the women loved him. Because nerds and geeks kind of are the sexy thing right now. So he's a sexy, confident nerd. And I love that.
And I want to know, for as much as Cupcake loves Corn Sweat's feet, I need to know what's going on with those mutant toes.
I need to know too, man, because
I know, me too.
Once she said it looked like a spilled shrimp cocktail, I'm like, when she said that line, I had some visualizations that
he needed to see it.
Man.
And the fact that he had mutant toes as what she listed
in his contacts. Oh my goodness.
You get all those Gunnisms, you get those bits of humor, and of course you do get the downside is it feels so much like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Even the fight sequences, the spinning camera with people swinging each other, that is very Guardians of the Galaxy. And that is, to me, is kind of a negative because Gunn really is that Guardians of the Galaxy guy. I mean, he's never going to be the Superman guy. We're always going to think of him of what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that's his pop culture moment, right? Guardians.
It is.
That's his pop culture moment. He will always be that James Gunn, no matter what else he does. I mean, he could make a freaking masterpiece, but he's always going to be remembered, I think, for that film.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
There's a little movie called Slither.
Yeah. No. I agree.
There was no slow motion gooiness, right? There was no like.
I think Guardians. They that gets over reliant on CG, but I never felt it as much as I feel it in these DC films for whatever reason.
Yeah.
This one in Black Adam, the amount of turf and concrete that gets crushed by bodies in DC films in particular seems to be incredibly high. It's almost like they have a cornerstone on that FX technology, and they're like, we're going to use this. Like, it's like some companies like James Cameron's like, I got the greatest water. I got the greatest water.
You want water? I got it for you.
Yeah. Jaslov is like, I got the greatest concrete. I got the greatest concrete, people.
Hey, that's why I said I'd never move to Metropolis. Like how many in each movie we've seen like 5 skyscrapers fall and get demolished in Metropolis, and they're rebuilt.
I just want you guys just think about it for a minute. How much concrete is destroyed in this movie in particular?
A lot.
Even more than Zack Snyder's Man of Steel.
The difference is this time James cares about people, and they didn't care about it in the Snyder-verse. And that I liked, that this Superman is keeping people alive. He's rescuing people. He's not based off of anger or hate or anything like that, which is what you get a lot of with that big fight at the end of Man of Steel in the Snyder-verse. He seems like he's full of rage so much that he doesn't even care about people anymore. He just wants to kill, which is, it's not Superman. It doesn't work because Superman is, well, first off, I think Cavill's kind of just, like we've said several times, he's not the best actor. So
he's the black hole of acting. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't work for me in that movie. It's not that I like him enough, but he just doesn't portray anything more than just Cavill. He's just Cavill always, forever, whether his mustache is CGI'd or not.
In Mike terminology, he's not the black hole. He is the dark ass of acting.
Yes, he is a dark ass of acting.
I guess I just love Fallout too much.
Yeah, he's good in that.
For me, I like Henry Cavill. I think he's actually a good actor, but that's me. We're not going to get into that conversation.
No. But Gunn gets the comic book. He knows that this is for comic book fans. And that is what I liked about it. This is a Superman movie that brings us the comic books. Like Donner's Superman is this epic, grandiose, 2.5 hour long film that's so just sweeping. This is the first time we really get Superman in a comic book form. He's very, very much in that world. And we get dove right into it. We see who he is. We see his people. We see Krypto and Krypto being Krypto. And I just love everything about how comic book accurate that is. If you've read Krypto, he's licking all over. He's knocking Superman down. He is this rambunctious dog. So again, Gunn gets what he's doing here. We don't need this grim, dark, let's bring superheroes into the real world. I want them to be in the superhero world. I want my superheroes to be a little bit corny. I was raised on Superman 3 and Condor Man. I like a little bit of cheese. And that's what we get here. And I love that about it. And I enjoyed that about it. And I love Wonder Woman 84 because it's so damn corny and feels like it wants to be Superman 3 as well. So for me, I kind of loved that about this, the cheesiness, the corniness, the Gunness of it all. So for me, definitely a watch. If you're a comic book fan, I think you're going to eat it up. Now, if you're one of those Snyder bros, I see them out here angry. They're yelling, they're screaming, and then the folks are like, well, he's not very Christ-like. Well, just to point it out, the writers were Jewish. This was actually a Moses story more than a Jesus story. So Superman is not really Jesus. He's Moses, motherfucker. So get your shit straight. This is not the Snyder-verse. This is very much back to the character created in the comics.
That's why the water was parting in this film. Mike, it's even deeper than I thought. Two things. One, this is an observation. I'm going to defend Zack Snyder and the destruction of Manhattan, as that is the only real motivating factor for Batman to hate Superman so much. So that
Yes, it was a setup. Thank you
Yeah.
for mentioning that.
So I'll give him that. I don't like it still, but I'll give him that. Two, Crypto has great arches. Let's move forward.
I'm sensing some anti-foot fetish language here. All right,
Look,
so
I'm totally into pause.
all right, it's a watch for all of us. Let's head into some of those spoilers, because I know we've had a lot of discussion. Now we get to rip loose. So if you have not seen Superman, James Gunn Superman, we're gonna ruin it faster than you can say sexy arches or espionage selfies in 3, 2, 1. All right. First of all, a lot of criticism over this movie being too woke, right?
Ugh.
I want to know, how do you all feel? You can't not see this in this film, the injection of politicism or geopolitical matters when it comes to Superman. So just like in Batman versus Superman, where the Holly Hunter character is like, you just can't unilaterally decide to just act on your own. Call it Granny's peach tea and I'll drink it, whatever. But in this one, in exposition, Superman has stopped this battle between these two countries. And the question comes up, well, when did he become the decider? Who's the good country? Who's the bad country? How did we feel about that sort of injection? Sammy, go for it.
I actually think they handled it quite well.
Yeah, I think they did.
I don't feel like I was slammed over the head with it. I mean, there's a lot of parables here. There's a lot of there's a lot of Trump here. There's a lot of Elon Musk stinking around.
Oh yes.
There's a lot of all that stuff here.
The battle itself is the Ukraine and the Soviets, or the
or the Palestinians and the Iranians or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of very self-conscious modern politics in this film. Morally, what Superman does to save a country is probably correct, but morals don't really govern the world. So even though morally we can say things, and everybody's morals are a little different, but for the most part, most good people have good morals, regardless of your religious belief or anything. I mean, I don't have any religious beliefs, but I still have morals. Mostly from reading stories and fables and things like that. That's where all my beliefs come from. They come from just being a good person and maybe some of that does actually come from religion. I guess it does technically, because somebody read the Bible, wrote a story, and I got my stuff from that story. So technically it all comes from that shit. But the truth is, Superman is challenged on his morals. That is a very important point of this movie. He's challenged on his moral beliefs. He's challenged on his beliefs and if they are human or if they are alien. And that's important to this movie. That's what humanizes him the most throughout this film. That and the fact that he likes bad punk rock. But that is
the mighty Crab Joyce.
A lot of people like him.
Yeah, but a lot of people. No, the truth is, I think that's a very human touch. And even, my son got it. I think a lot of people got it. And, we're going to be living with these parables for a long time. We already were from the previous, but, go past administration, go past the first run with Trump and stuff like that. We went through a lot of that already. And then, we went through some Biden stuff, which we've seen some films recently. And now we're going to go through this Trump stuff again. This is probably the most irate I've seen somebody kind of put into a comic book film, because there's clearly some motivations of, I do not agree with these politics in this film. But I don't think it's woke. That's not the word I would use. I never felt that. I never felt like I was being preached to. I felt like I was seeing both sides of the coin. I was seeing the business side of it, which is a side of it none of us want to talk about, but I'm sorry, it's a reality. I was seeing.
I think we just lost Jeremy.
We might have.
We might have.
We might have woke him and he left.
We might have woke him up. Yes.
He might have been like, disagree.
I'm out. Hold that thought.
Oh, there he's back. We got him back.
I was literally just sitting here.
No,
All right.
but no. All that
Sorry.
is to say that I think it's handled quite well. I don't think it takes away from the entertainment of this film, and yet I actually think it's a pretty smart film. If there's anything I think that is a little overdone in here, the stingers are kind of silly, and some of the jokes toward the end are just like totally ridiculous and just like, come on, man. You had me, and now you're going to lose me with some of this stuff a little bit. You could have closed just Crypto and him sitting on the moon looking at Earth, and I would have been cool with it.
Oh, yes, that. But I love this idea that given the way that the world is now, that this like finding your humanity and being kind is kind of like punk rock. I kind of like that. That
a good idea.
Came out in that scene.
That's a very that's obviously a very personal comment.
Yes, it's very Gunn.
It's very personal. It's very personal to say, "Oh, I got a crazy idea. How's this for punk rock? I'm going to be nice."
Right, Mike. Your feelings on this like political stuff? What did you think?
Well, I've been fighting the freaking Snyder chuds on the internet for like a week, so it's really, man, the fact that they think that this is so woke, just it doesn't. They're not watching the movie. They're just listening to the talking heads, And speaking of talking heads, we didn't talk about it, but Michael Ian Black is the Tucker Carlson character. Chef's kiss. He's so great as that Tucker Carlson type. But the big thing is, he's not American. Why are we calling him an illegal immigrant? I think is what Dean Cain started bitching about, whose father, whatever, was Japanese. So shut up, Dean Cain. I hate him.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I mean, his whole complaints about it being too woke, that just threw me off.
Trust me, Mike. Go down Dean Cain's filmography. He's committed worse sins on his people.
Hell's
awful.
Yeah.
I turned into an inside joke. I turned into a Paul Taggart and just started trolling all of them.
Nice.
Because I just could not handle all the fucking Snyder bros. It was nonstop. My feed is just Superman stuff because I've
listen,
all of the films.
If there was a time where woke was a good word, all right, it was.
There was a time.
It's been like weaponized,
and
I still think it is.
It is good. It's a good thing. It's like the other side has created this negative connotation towards being awoke, being open-minded, being aware. Exactly. Be aware of what's around you. That yes, Man of Steel was also about someone who was lost and then found, but that was more like he was a god. They treated that very much like this is Jesus amongst men. I did not feel like this was Jesus amongst men. Corn Sweat felt like a alien who wanted to be a human, who feels like all he knows is humans, and that's what right now on this point of his life he wants to be. And it's about him finding in touch and becoming in touch with his humanity. And I think the importance, and making mistakes. And then the other big twist we got to talk about is Jor-El actually telling him to have a harem of women, and basically just for the listeners out there.
Wait a minute. Wait. Jor-El did not say have a harem of women.
That's what they turned it into, right?
That's what they turned it into. So this was
the quote unquote monkeys.
Right. So this was, oh my God.
The Jeffrey
they talk harem of women.
Universe.
No, there's so much to unpack here, but what Mike's talking about to set it up for like the viewers and the listeners is that, so at some point we realize that like Jor-El has given Kal-El, they don't even say Kal-El, by the way, but has given Superman like this message, like, oh son, Krypton, your legacy, this and that, we sent you to Earth because, and then like the message cuts out, right? Because it's damaged in the crash. What we find out later is that, Luthor finds his DNA, and that's how he is able to clone Superman. We'll get to that later. And enter the Fortress of Solitude.
That's right.
And once he gets in there, they hack it. Can we talk about that weird Latina character that like just creates? It was so weird. Anyway, so she hacks.
Before you do that, can we
system?
Before you do that, can we talk about how small our universe is and that Paul Taggart just got a name drop on the Watch Skip Plus podcast?
Right? Totally.
And the four
We
of us
all know what we're talking about. We all know.
and just think about the power of Taggart at this point.
Yes, the power of Taggart compels you, Mike.
Oh my God.
So they hack the computer and they get the message, and then Luther turns that into this social media weaponization against Superman, where they translate the rest of the broken message. And essentially what he says is, you're powerful enough with the yellow sun that you can lord over the people of Earth, right? But then they turn that message around and they're kind of like, oh, he's trying to take over us, and have a harem of women.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was interesting that we get that sort of like weaponization and how we turn people against our heroes and sort of cancel them. It's cancel culture, basically.
It's the James Gunn moment. It's the most autobiographical. It's the moment that he went through.
Yes, absolutely. And when you mention autobiography too, Jay, you talked about James Gunn's novel, The Toy Collector. And I think Gunn has hinted at the fact that he's had some substance abuse problems in the past also. And isn't The Toy Collector about a guy who sells drugs to basically collect toys, right?
Something like that. Yeah. It's been a while since I read it, but it's yes.
Yeah. But I don't know. What did we all think about that sort of interesting having people immediately turn against Superman when it's kind of like, wait a minute, what?
Wait, I mean, I'd like to say that that's not the culture we live in. That's not reality, but that is reality now.
It is. And suddenly it doesn't feel so movie-like that happened.
None of us, not even the four of us, none of us could see the ramifications of social media on our lives. None of us could see this coming. Maybe we could see the idea of a phone like the iPhone and apps and everything else. Maybe some of us could see that coming, but the way even being a part of this in some ways for the last 17 years with social media and podcasting and things like that, none of us could ever have seen, I don't think, how small this would make the world. I mean, it's really shrunk it way down, and you're only one or two mistakes away from losing your fucking career. You're losing.
That's really scary.
Because what's so scary about that is human beings have to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you don't learn anything.
As Pa Kent says, we give you the tools for you to grow up and make fools of yourself.
I love that.
It's a great moment.
Yes.
And the world has given us these tools. There's thousands of hours of me speaking audio on the internet that will never go away as long as the human race exists. Thousands of hours. Even if I was to try to eliminate all of it, it's still out there. There's no way for it not to be. So this has become a part of my life. This has become who I am. And I've said some things in the past that I'm not too proud of. That even in this woke culture, if you go back and listen to some old episodes and stuff, there's probably some jokes and stuff in there that nowadays would be considered maybe a little crass. I don't really care because that was then, this is now. I'm a different person than I was then. That's 17 years, people. 17 years, people change a lot.
Intent is also a big thing.
Yes. If I'm still if I'm still preaching or if I'm still doing the same things, there's no growth there. So there's no humanity there. There's no change. I think all of that is here in this big blockbuster film. Yeah. And this is why I think James Gunn is pretty special. I don't think he's a master filmmaker. He's not a Akira Kurosawa for me, or he's not a, Ozu, or he's not even a Paul Schrader. He's not one of these guys. But for a guy like him to exist in blockbuster filmmaking, it's really kind of rare. It's really kind of rare.
Yeah.
He puts themes in his stuff. And if you go back and look at Guardians, there's a lot of these same themes in there. If you go back and look at even Super, there's some of those themes in there. I guess I have seen every James Gunn film.
Yeah.
I was thinking I hadn't seen Super, but I have seen Super. So,
look, the fact that he puts all of that into this script, it's amazing.
Yeah, and Jaslov didn't even see it. Jaslov was probably like, wait a minute, you're making fun of the guy I backed. Chances are he backed.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of Jaslov, I can say this. Gunn helped to write and create Coyote versus Acme, which got written off as a Zaslav tax write-off.
Yeah, but
and,
through the
and
internet,
may never.
No, it's going to get
That
released
one's coming out.
Is
Yeah, that
it?
one's coming out.
through the internet, through the power of the
Johnson
internet.
one,
They're
right?
gonna,
Yeah.
they're gonna put it out.
Oh, well, good.
Catch Up Entertainment bought it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think something
Oh,
that
yeah,
bought
that's right. That's right.
Cartoon. Yeah.
Jeremy,
Sadly, Batwoman or Batgirl or whatever. That's the
Batgirl,
one-
no.
that's the one we lost. That's the
you'll
one.
never see the
We
light
won't
of
see
day.
it. Yeah.
And that's actually
But,
the one time I actually felt my love of James Gunn disappear is in an interview once when they were talking about the Batgirl situation. He said it was really unreleasable. And that kind of bothered me on a filmmaker level, just because he's throwing other filmmakers under the bus. And I get that he's the boss now, but I've seen the filmmakers that made that movie made Bad Boys for Life. I refuse to believe they made an unreleasable movie.
I totally agree with you. Totally agree.
I
I don't know. Did you see Catwoman? Anyway,
You
I
love
love
it.
that movie. I love that type of movie.
Catwoman shouldn't have been released, but the truth is, I can't think. Even though I've seen Catwoman, I cannot think of another film that looks like Catwoman, for better or worse. It's definitely for worse in my case. But I mean,
It's unique. It has a unique. Pitoff
Oh man,
gave it a unique look, but
odd.
yeah,
It'll be a cult film at some point. It's taken longer than it should have, but it's gonna have a life of its own that I can't even quite explain. But
I own the Blu-ray. I fucking love that movie. By the way, speaking of immortalizing your sins, my foot fetish has now been immortalized in our season 3 of Watch Skip Plus. But Jeremy, talk to me about this moment. This is the moment that like my husband was like, I can't believe they went there. What did you think about that scene where we are introduced early to Malik, who gave Superman a falafel and he fishes him out of the trench when whatever. But Malik is brought before Superman and Lex Luthor has a gun to his head playing Russian roulette. And he's like, tell me, blah, 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 or I'm going to kill this guy. And he ends up shooting that guy in the head and killing Malik. What did you think about this?
I love it. Goodbye, Malik.
Yeah.
No offense to Malik, but Lex Luthor's got to do something bad.
He does,
and that was very bad.
Yeah.
That's
the moment. That's the moment
Yeah.
that I was like, bam, we get James Gunn gets it, because that's when he had to have his bad guy do something truly terrible, not just buy land or whatever,
sell guns or kill populations of people, but through administrative work.
And then to just act nonchalant about it, like, oh shit, I guess I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the best part. Yeah, that's the best part of that whole thing is the punchlines there too.
Yeah, when he's like, I'll find somebody else you care about. Like, I don't know, it kind of shocked me when that happened because I was like, oh my God.
Also, for the record, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, how have the Soviets not gotten mad about us still calling that Russian roulette at this point? How has that not been?
Right?
I know.
How has that?
But what are we going to call it instead?
We're not allowed to say Chinese water torture anymore.
I can't even say Chinese wall at my law firm anymore. I'm not allowed to say Chinese wall.
You can't say Oriental rug anymore.
Yeah.
Oriental.
So I'm sitting there thinking Russian roulette. But of course, they never say it in the film. But you just called it Russian roulette, so
I did. I was a little shocked that they went there. But what's even crazier?
I agree with Jay. He has to have blood on his hands.
Yeah.
There has to be some dynamic. Look, we all four know that CGI baby, nothing was going to happen. Although with James, that anything's possible. But we knew that nothing was going to happen to what's his name again, Joey.
Joey.
We all knew nothing was going to happen to Joey, probably.
Perfect.
But
right. But what I think is kind of crazy about that scene, though, is it's shocking. Superman screams, and then immediately there's like a gun joke, like Luthor's like, "Oh God, that happened faster than I thought," and then like the other president guy is like, "Ah, it's so great," or whatever, and I'm just like, "Oh." Meanwhile, I'm still, feeling over Malik getting killed.
That's okay, because then they cut to Metamorpho, who is doing exactly that.
Yeah,
because we all know Joey's on the chopping block. If Metamorpho, like,
doesn't
you know?
Metamorpho have a joke where he looks at you like Lucerman, like you look like shit or something like that, and he's like, oh.
Yeah,
It's also a pretty good James Gunn moment. It's a little moment, but I really like. I mean, you look like
you
shit.
look like shit.
What does he say? Why do you still look gross?
Why do you still look gross? Exactly.
Yeah, that's even better than you look like shit. Like, why do you still look gross? I need some.
I love that they treated. I like this treatment of the kryptonite as if he's going into anaphylactic shock. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, in every Superman film, you got to have the moment where to take him out of the story, he's got to have kryptonite involved. Yeah. Because this is an all-powerful character. This is, for lack of a better word, a godlike character. Yep. So you have to do something like that. This is a little bit of a concern I have with the Sentry being, added to the Marvel universe. The Sentry was always a bit of a concern for me because when you add, and maybe Jay can speak to this more because he reads comics more recently than I do.
Lately.
Not lately. That's an expensive ass hobby.
Exactly.
You'll be selling drugs to kids. Like, hey kid, great arches. Get over here. I got some cocaine. No, but
let me take some pictures. I gotta buy some.
Yeah. Get some pictures from my OnlyFans. Stay still. Quit moving, you fucker. It's like shrimp cocktail. Anyway, the problem with Superman is that some people have called him the Big Blue Boy Scout. Some people have called him Big Blue. Some people have called him, Jesus Christ, the parable there, all of these things. The problem with Superman is he has so few things that he can really do. And so kryptonite is the only thing you can bring into it. This is a really good representation of what kryptonite does, as good as you're going to get, I think, cinema-wise. It's almost like kryptonite is such a movie cliche thing at this point. And of course, kryptonite is a pop culture phenomenon, right? Like we all say, like this is
my kryptonite.
This is my kryptonite. Like,
these arches are my kryptonite.
Blu-rays and DVDs are my kryptonite.
Physical media is your
kryptonite. Spin doctors are my kryptonite.
It's a good example right there. Yeah.
You know what, Sammy? More to your point, though, I think what's interesting about you mentioning Superman is just so powerful. In a way, James Gunn very sneakily made Lex Luthor just as powerful because we learn that he has ripped a hole and created a pocket universe through his science. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, what? But at that point, so much has happened that you're just kind of like, okay, whatever, fine.
So I'm going to tell you guys, I got a little nervous when I heard the words pocket universe.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought is, here we go again.
Yeah.
We're multiversing it up again.
Right.
Yes.
All this stuff, it all makes sense. Pocket universe, Guy Gardner, blah, blah, blah. Here comes Kilowog. Here comes this. Here comes that. Yeah. This is what we're going to get. But Gunn, I think, was pretty smart here. I think he kept it, pocket universe is like basically a fancy sex dungeon or a place that you don't want people to know about, right? Your secret lab, so to speak. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. But here's the thing about Gunn that I think is pretty smart. He knows at this point all these comic book tropes, and he knows that people are watching these films like fucking hawks right now.
Yeah.
And it's almost like every time I thought he was going to zig, this motherfucker zagged.
Yeah.
And he knew that people like me were coming to this movie.
Yes.
The people that have been critical of these comic book films over the last 10 years, because it's been a rough 10 years for comic book films. I won't say bad because there's been some really good ones, but it's been inconsistent. Started out with a really strong storyline. Marvel really had a good game plan in place. I can't deny that. 25 films. They knew what the hell they were doing. I didn't like them all, but they knew exactly what they needed to get to. Can't believe they did it. It's a major feat. I don't think DC's ever going to even come close.
No.
Oh no.
I think it's a pop culture moment.
I don't know that Marvel will.
No, Marvel
never
will.
will.
You're right.
And even if the next Avengers movie makes $1 billion, well, that's just a fucking Avengers movie.
Yeah, that's it. Right. Not only that, it's got to make $2 billion now. $1 billion doesn't mean anything anymore.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So I mean,
Um,
we're in this world where the stakes are so high, but for me, it just felt like James Gunn every time. Again, every time he zigged, I thought, okay, I know where he's going with this story, and then he would zag on me just a little bit, not so much that I didn't see what was coming, but just enough to keep me entertained, and that's where I think Warner Brothers has done some interesting things with their superhero films. I actually like that they hire, in my opinion, they hire filmmakers to make these films. Don't get me wrong, there are good filmmakers in the Marvel universe, but there are a lot of journeymen / yes people that make those films too. Peyton
Yeah.
Reed's not a bad filmmaker. I agree with Jay. He's not a bad filmmaker, but not the first person I think of when I think of, film as an art. Film as a commerce, yes, but film as art, he's not the first person I think of.
Yeah.
Some of these
Like the Russo brothers, same thing, right?
the Russo brothers is the one I always bring up. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think the best Marvel film was made by the Russo brothers. I really do. My personal favorite Marvel film was made by the Russo brothers. But everything after that is just, everybody's making a Russo brothers movie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and that's a problem. Jose, you and I have talked about this behind the scenes. I mean, the problem is they all look alike. What I always think about DC is everything always looked kind of different. And then they said, well, Zack Snyder's in charge. And I'm like, fuck. Everything. Well, not that I have a problem with it. I like Zack Snyder's aesthetic sometimes, but I didn't want everything to look like Zack Snyder.
Yeah. I think that was the huge issue,
And even though I did it's not a great film. I know it's not a great film, but I had a good time with The Flash. I had a good time with it. Maybe it was nostalgia. Yeah, maybe it was
I like The Flash.
Maybe it's just the fact that I love The Flash. And actually, I even like that cuckoo actor. I like the lead. I think the guy's got some serious mental health issues, but I think he's a hell of an actor.
Kevin's got some chops.
Yeah. But I think that those guys, some of our greatest actors got some serious health issues up here. Oh,
Yes.
Come on now. I mean, there's a reason why they're special. Okay. My detriments of this film were too CGI reliant toward the back end, and it looks almost identical as far as looks to Suicide Squad.
The whole thing you guys were talking about with the eyeball in the background, or even with the kaiju, I'm like, didn't we already do this in the Suicide Squad? Like it all felt very like we were doing the same thing.
Yeah,
I was really surprised. Yeah. I missed out on all that stuff you guys are talking about in the background of that scene. Like, I knew there was a big eyeball out there, and occasionally I'd see a green laser go across screen or whatever, but I was actually invested in that scene. So yeah. I was paying attention to them.
I think it's a really nice balance, actually. I know Jose said something about the dialogue. Maybe he wasn't paying attention to that, but to me, I think, again, that's what Gunn does well. He's able to handle that, because I was able to pay attention to the scene, and I got caught up in the scene, and I got caught up in the silliness in the background.
A couple things.
Me to say James Gunn is, he's not the savior of cinema, but he might be the savior. He might
of the DC
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers,
Yeah,
but he might do comic book films for another 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
Between this and Thunderbolts, I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, I like Thunderbolts. I think those two films. This is good. This is a good sign.
Yeah.
Maybe we're turning a page. Even if you didn't love Thunderbolts, it still felt a little different.
Yeah, it felt fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. The snark felt fresh in that.
Yeah.
But so a couple things I did enjoy, because we're being dropped into the middle of stories and stuff. I did enjoy that, like, Lois Lane and Superman, they already knew each other's identity or whatever, which leads to that great moment where she's kind of like trying to feel out the Justice Gang. Do they know he's Clark Kent? And then, like, Guy Gardner says it, and she's like, God, he trusts everybody. I really like that moment. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and then we'll move on to, I guess we'll talk about Lex Luthor's big speech, because I know that's a really good one. I love James Gunn and how he sort of embraces Greek culture. Hello, embraces geek culture, because
cheap, baby.
Right. Because, like, geek culture is comics, it's movies, it's also video games, and I love that the way that Ultraman is sort of set up. It's almost like he's doing like a joystick game kind of like thing, like 5A, 8A, BBA or whatever. Like, that's how it almost was, like a video game. He's yelling out these like numbers when he's like beating him. But The Lex Luthor speech at the end when he just really gets crazed. I thought that was such a highlight.
It really was.
When he goes, "You're just envious," he's like, "You don't think I know that?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it.
That was so good. Oh my god.
I honestly think he's my favorite Lex Luthor. I know a lot of people have their favorites, and I've recently rewatched all of them. I rewatched them all this past week.
Wow.
And, I mean, rest in peace, Hackman. But yeah, his biggest threat is, I'll buy up the land.
Yeah,
I'll
he's just
buy
playing,
up the land.
he's just playing Gene Hackman. He's just playing Gene Hackman.
Yeah. I mean, it's great, but
to do my Gene Hackman laugh.
Yeah. But
it's not scary.
I love the like
Yeah, there's one line. There's one line in that speech though that encapsulates all of Lex Luthor throughout all of history and comics. And he says, "I'm aware envy consumes my every waking moment."
Yes.
And I was like, "Oh my God, that is so perfectly written," because that is, in my opinion, the person who wants power, that is their ultimate curse. No matter what they get, it's never fucking enough.
Yep.
They gotta have more. And so that envy consumes them to no end. And and Holt just, boom, he brings it. I mean,
So
almost
good.
to the point to where he almost brought a tear to my eye. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's a terrible human being. And I feel bad for him
Yeah.
because somebody has swooped in and stole his thunder. And he's become consumed by this immigrant, illegal alien, yada, yada, yada. To the point to where he's created this passion to destroy him, not realizing that he's destroying himself and possibly the human race. It's fucking...
And then Crypto got his ass. Okay.
Again,
The hate. I mean, the hate's palpable in that speech, and you could see it in his eyes. You could feel it in his.
Oh god, it's such a good scene for Holt. Oh my god.
Yeah, so
That
good.
was-
And he gave us what I'm calling the ultimate Lex Luthor on film. Like, perfectly written, perfectly like portrayed. Everything about this character is just mean. Still has that snark, and he's still funny at time, but he's mean, and I love that about Lex. This was awesome.
To go back to what Cupcake was saying about the video game aspect of the Lex Luthor thing. Now, is that supposed to be a comment on like incel bros, or
About
you know,
I think you
living in
can-
their
I think you can
living in their
take it-
parents' space, play video games? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm invested in the scene because Superman's getting the shit kicked out of him or whatever. But Nicholas Holt going 81, 89, 89, 89. I got a little sick of that real fast.
I know, he's hitting him.
I don't know. I kind of love it.
yeah, there's no doubt there's a commentary there of fighting our battles behind screens.
Mhm.
There's no doubt. I mean, unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look
Keyboard
at it.
warriors.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all of us probably in some capacity spend more time behind a computer screen than we want to.
Yeah.
Or a phone screen. I mean, we're all connected so much. So there's no doubt in my mind that all of that is commentary and criticism.
I appreciate the ideas behind it, but cinematically having Lex Luthor shout a bunch of game codes at you.
Well, yeah,
not
it's a
necessarily
it's
the
a
best
little-
for me. You know?
It's a little weird. But speaking of which,
Yeah.
I did not catch on that the Ultraman person or whatever was a clone Superman.
So the
Yeah,
giveaway
it's gonna
for me, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. When Lex walks into the Fortress of Solitude, when it comes up and he gives the look and everything else, there's an ever so slight look at Ultraman, and I was like, "Motherfucker, they cloned Superman."
Okay.
I'm gonna look for that a third time.
Okay.
You go back and look at it, you'll see it. It's an ever so subtle thing. He didn't need to do it. He did it because he's a filmmaker, and this is what filmmakers like to do. They like to, we all like to do that. Go back and look at Shutter Island, for instance. If you go back and look, first time I saw Shutter Island, I thought, well, this is a pretty standard thriller. Scorsese's not really doing anything. If you go back and look at it a second time, there are so many Easter eggs that he's dropping in that film
that movie is far more interesting the second time.
Yeah.
Because now you know everything.
The other thing I was going to say was I did like the idea of the robots. I thought it was a little strange because I don't think has that been introduced before in Superman
2. There was like these when Nod and Zod show up.
I've noticed this for the first time last.
I don't know if it's a robot or what, but it's wearing a white helmet and he grabs it and rips it off. Dude,
it's a stormtrooper.
Oh,
yeah, he killed, and I think that was supposed to be the robot. So.
Okay, but I don't think I've ever seen that in any other movie
In the
incarnation of
comics,
Superman.
it started in Super.
It's very Silver Age. It's very Silver Age. One of my least favorite things about James Gunn and his blockbuster filmmaking is I think he takes the ending of Return of the Jedi and throwing everything but the kitchen sink.
Oh man.
He's got a signature move with he likes to do the camera in a circle. And it worked once in Guardians of the Galaxy, and it kind of works here because he's doing it differently. But I remember watching the trailers, and once I realized that stuff was taking place in a baseball stadium, I was like, "Oh God damn it!" That's what I know I'm going to get that shot. Just of.
I
of
think we got
CGI
like
nonsense.
3 of those. I think we got 3 of those in this.
We got at least 2 of them. Yeah. But one of them, at least, he did the trick with Mr. Terrific. It was a different way of doing it. But also, the ending of Guardians of the Galaxy, when all the ships start fighting above wherever the heck they are, no air battle could ever look like that. There are thousands upon thousands of ships just flying right past each other next to you. And that's what the end of Guardians 2 looks like. And that's what the end of Guardians 3 looks like. And that's kind of what this looks like. Yeah. It's like, what's they call it? What? Call in the Raptors. And then what? They just have 1,000 guys in suits just lying around.
Where did they all come from? It was so weird.
Yeah. The only real swing and a miss for me of the whole movie that really kind of brings it down at all. I mean, it's still definitely a watch, but really the CGI thing at the end is it's just that one step too far that doesn't really it didn't really need to happen.
Wait, Drunk Supergirl was not
earlier this summer. Quite refreshing.
I love Drunk.
Yeah.
So wait, so the CGI ruined it for you, but not Drunk Supergirl? Can we talk about that?
Well, hang on. Drunk Supergirl is kind of fun because she said, "See you later, bitch. Thanks for watching, bitch." Or what?
Thanks for watching my dog. See ya, bitch. That was great.
That made her great. She wasn't great up to that point, although I did like the explanation that she goes places where there's a red sun. So
red sun.
Yeah, it's like that he has to explain it to Gary, his robot.
Yeah, I love too the
AKA number 4.
That happens at the beginning too, where James Gunn's like, "How do I get about a bunch of exposition here? We'll just have Clark describe it all to his robot."
That's right. That's what he does. But yeah, I like that she calls him bitch when she leaves.
It was so weird when she came in because she's like, "Did you move the door?" And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe she like slammed into whatever. But then I'm like, wait, is she drunk or like hung over? Yeah. That was so weird. That's an interesting intro for Supergirl.
Who's directing that film? Somebody of note is directing the Supergirl film.
Oh, really? I don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up while you guys are talking. So
I don't know.
Scooter
was a little disappointed that she got introduced that way because he was like, "Wait a minute."
The only worry I have is that we're not going to get Streaky. I really want Streaky now that we know that Crypto is her dog. What about Streaky the cat? Come on, let's get Streaky.
Craig Gillespie.
I haven't thought about Streaky in forever.
Yeah, it's Craig Gillespie.
Whoa, Craig Gillespie?
Yeah,
he's directing Supergirl.
Yeah, he's directing Supergirl.
I mean, I guess that makes sense now because what he did that Cruella, right?
Yeah.
Cruella, I, Tonya.
That means
but I'm saying that he jumped into big blockbuster filmmaking with Cruella.
Yeah.
Well, he remade Fright Night, which was pretty damn good.
What that means,
I wouldn't call that blockbuster though.
Yeah, what that means
is also I hated it.
Supergirl will have a smell of Goodfellas in it.
Baby,
every Craig Gillespie film.
That's true.
He might be the world's greatest Goodfellas fan because he really likes to kind of homage Goodfellas.
Yes, he does.
I'm surprised at this point he hasn't put a needle drop of "Give Me Shelter" in one of his films yet. Let's put it that way.
Speaking of the needle drops, I did like the use of the rock music in this. Although
he's
it
good at
is
that.
very Guardians of the Galaxy.
His thing.
This is one of the things he does. This is what he does. I mean, he even goes out of his way to go on to Spotify and make playlists for the characters in this film. Like if you go out to Spotify, there's a
Really?
there's a
I was listening to Clark's playlist.
this is a James
Mostly
Gunn thing.
positive.
Yeah, it's a James Gunn thing. It's what he does, and I kind of like that he loves these things that much, right? I mean, that's what I think people get wrong about Tarantino and some of these guys. Yeah, they can sometimes be obnoxious, but what's great about these people is they love this shit, which is what the four of us are spending a Sunday afternoon sitting here recording a conversation that, maybe 100 people, maybe 5 people, maybe 60 people, maybe 6,000 people will listen to.
10.
Yeah, we're talking about these. We're talking about this. I didn't want to get into it. But we're talking about this stuff. But why are we talking about this stuff? Because we love this stuff, right? And that's what's great about these guys.
Yeah.
That's what it
What's
needs.
great about you guys. Okay.
That's right.
So all right, last thoughts. Anything you want to say, good or bad, about Superman? Let's start with our guests. Fakest of Shemps. Any last words on Superman?
All in all, it's a great movie to have a good time at. It's not my favorite Superman movie, which is weird because now that I've watched Superman 1 and 2 this week so far, those movies are good, but mainly they're good for the time and the nostalgia. Because the scripts are all over the place there. Hackman's not a good Luthor. The Clark Kent holds kryptonite in the beginning of the movie for just looking at it going, oh, hey, this is green. But then later on, Lex Luthor goes, hey, I don't even remember the whole reason he decides kryptonite could kill Superman is just like, how did you get there? What? it's all bad.
Yeah.
The thing I really did truly appreciate though was that he kind of tries to please everybody. He even shits on the Snyder Bros, but at the same time, he does give you the strains of that Hans Zimmer score. You get the John Williams score, you get the Hans Zimmer that flight. I don't even know what. It's not. He doesn't use the entire. It's not as prominent as the Williams stuff, but it's there. And I noticed it right away when it was like 3,000 years ago. I love that beginning, by the way. I love that opening scrawl because it just goes 3, and then 3 minutes ago, Clark, or he just lost his first fight. And I was just like, oh, that's amazing. I am in.
Yeah. So James Gunn, that's so his kind of storytelling, right? He's like, I'm going to take this 3 and I'm just going to run with it.
Yeah, but it's not as annoying as you're never gonna believe how I got in this situation.
Yeah.
That we have to,
It's almost like a parody or a satire of the Star Wars crawl in a way. It's almost like, that crawl is awesome, and this is like Star Wars in a lot of ways because that first Star Wars film, right, just drops you right in the middle of everything. People don't often talk about the real genius of Star Wars. To me, is it's like I don't give a fuck about backstory. Boom.
You're in the middle. Although there are times when I'm just like, will those words disappear quicker, please? Anyway,
but hold on. I want to say I love the reverence he did have. Like for the Williams score, the font of the credits.
Oh yeah.
The only two things I didn't necessarily love the rock music, mainly because when a Superman movie, the credits start to roll, I'm supposed to be going dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
so when Iggy Pop started singing at me, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about this, but I also don't know how you transition from hey, what's up, bitch, to John Williams.
I'll say this: the end credit sequence, it feels more like James Gunn than it feels like Superman.
Yeah, especially the Mighty Crab Joys. Okay,
yes,
all that is James Gunn. Like if I was making a film and I had a favorite song, like Sheena is a punk rocker or something, which is a favorite song of mine, and I was like, this has nothing to do with the movie, but I just would love to do a credit roll and play Sheena as a punk rocker. So like I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. I went and looked up that song. I assumed it was an original, being at the end of Superman. Song came out like 2008.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
Yeah.
I thought it was an original as well. I was like, this is none of this
Because I'm
stuff.
pretty sure, like, there was a Mighty Crab Joy song right before or right after it, wasn't there?
Afterwards.
It had to be an original.
We are the Mighty Crab Boys.
Yeah, I think James Gunn is a former musician, so I think he's actually.
Yep. He had a band.
That movie's been
He had a band. Sammy. Final thoughts.
It's a hard watch, man. I mean, it's a really good superhero movie. It's a great Superman film. I'd say it's probably maybe the fourth best Superman film. Maybe that's.
Nice.
I know that sounds like a lot, but I mean, it's better than the Zack
There.
Snyder films. Yeah, it's not as good. I think the Bryan Singer film's better.
I might also.
Wow. Yeah, I think so.
I'm one of the few people that I actually, and I say this with as much love for Christopher Reeve as anybody.
Mhm.
I think Ralph is a better performance. I think his Superman and his Clark are different.
They are. Although I will say this, okay? Is it Superman 3 that we get drunk Avatar Superman?
Yes.
Yes.
Drunk Avatar Superman is the greatest Superman creation.
It's a lot of
Yes.
Drunk,
Actually, the whole
angry,
part is-
5 o'clock shadow, because and back in those days, you had to have the 5 o'clock shadow to portray a drunk.
That is what signaled the prime alcoholism was the
Yeah.
shadow.
You forgot to change. That is when you know you have an alcohol problem.
Yeah.
Growing up, I didn't know if people were alcoholics or not, judging by the way they shaved. If they didn't shave, look, anybody that didn't shave, I was like,
Oh,
that
drunk.
guy's drinking. He's drinking. He's drinking and driving right now.
It's the borracho.
So when George Michael came along, culture really shifted for me because I was like,
Yeah, man.
Everybody's
And the earring. He threw everybody off.
he really did, except for me at the urinal. Anyway, it's good to kind of go
A little streamer.
a little.
Little stream.
I gotta talk to HR.
There we go. All the jokes. Are
Yeah,
coming
it
back.
did.
There we go. All the jokes are coming back. No, I think this is a hard watch. I think it is really good. It's almost as good as Drunk Clark Kent, but it is a really good film, and it's a good James Gunn film. James Gunn has found a niche in blockbuster filmmaking, similar to like Christopher Nolan. I mean, that's a totally different vibe, but
Yeah.
Nolan has found a niche as well, right? And
Yes.
we still get these guys. James Cameron, the ultimate niche filmmaker, in my opinion.
I got water.
Yeah. What next time it's fire, right? I think it's fire.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Look at my fire. We got fire.
I got the best looking fire you have ever seen. You can just see him in meeting rooms going, huh? The fire's like great. It's gotta be blue at the bottom.
Totally. Mike.
He's a tyrant. Yeah, but I love the film. Yeah, it was a great film. I mean, on our scale, the GGTMC, I'd give it like an 8. I mean, it's as good a superhero movie as you're going to get nowadays.
The 8. It's the 8.
It's the 8. That's pretty big.
Yeah, the 8,
Yes, it is. In fact, an 8 is.
the 8 is a big
I was
deal.
gonna say it might be an 8 for me, but I don't know if it's an 8 on my GGTMC scale.
Oh, okay. There we go.
It's pretty high. Okay.
Here's the thing. What's awesome is not only did Taggart get a drop, but that Jeremy has a GGTMC scale. That tells us what's the true power. What did you do? What did you do in life? They like
I
Conan.
created a scale.
Yeah. The lamentations of the women, and I gave them 8s. Not 10s like the motherfuckers.
Mike,
Uh,
parting thoughts.
Yeah, I loved it. I had a lot of fun. I actually put it as my 3rd favorite in the Superman series. I don't know why y'all love Return so much. Yeah, I go Superman 1, Man of Steel, and then Superman.
Wow.
That's how I
Man of
put it.
Steel is number 2?
Yeah, because at the time it really worked for me, and it still does kind of work. But I
love returns.
I don't know. I just liked.
I like it. That's the great thing about art. It's all subjective.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
You know how you just said that you don't know how people could like Superman Returns? I would just like you to remember that we just spoke eloquently about Richard Donner and those movies, how we love those. And that's the same movie.
That's good.
It's the next movie.
It is, and I don't hate it. I actually put it after Superman 2, like 5th in my ranking, because I put Superman 2 right after this. 'Cause Superman 2 is fun. Come on, Superman 2 is a good time. But overall, I did really enjoy this. I'll put it third in my ranking. I can't wait to see it again. And as I can't say it enough, if you love comic books, see this, because it's the closest thing to reading a comic book that I've felt ever going to a movie. So it's the most comic book film ever made. Honestly, to me, it really felt like that. I mean, again, this is what he does, right? I felt the same way about the Suicide Squad. I was like, wow, we're not getting him in the real world like Ayer's version. This one feels like you're in a comic book. So that's what he can really do, is creates comic book universes.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, total watch for me. I was really impressed. I did love this, and there's so much in there. It's great, even though it literally turned into Minecraft with that anti-proton river and I thought I was watching Pixels with Adam Sandler. I don't know what was happening.
You know, that this is beside the point. I watched that Minecraft movie a couple weeks ago. That is one. I'm for anybody. That is one of the worst things I've ever watched.
Oh,
Wait, actually, you know what? Your text to me was, I think I understand when you say this movie was not made for me.
Yes, that was my I was watching it and I was like, I have never felt older and more lost in my life. And I understand this is not a Minecraft show, never mind. But don't get me wrong. For those who love it, awesome. But for me,
Another marker of oldness. You know what? Here's the thing. I think we've gotten such a great discussion out of this that there's no need for a plus, because our runtime is probably already 3 hours.
yeah, like 2.5.
I think we're.
I'll give you a quick plus. Today I finished Superman and Lois. And if you guys haven't caught up on Superman and Lois, it's actually a very solid show from the Berlanti-verse, which also, I never got to talk about Mr. Terrific because I actually didn't love him as a character. I liked him as a representation, but I'm not familiar with Mr. Terrific all that much.
I'm not either.
And I don't know that he had enough character in the movie, but that could be because I watched Arrow, and he is a character on like the last 3 or 4 seasons of that show.
Yeah.
And so it's a completely different version. Like he's got T-spheres and got the T, that's about it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You know what?
But, at least he had more character than Hot Girl.
It's almost like it's almost that's literally her through the whole movie. I didn't care about anything, and but
these characters are very emo in a lot of ways.
They are. But what I loved about Mr. Terrific, though, was he kind of was like Luthor and Superman, just in a more like combined technical aspect.
Well,
like he was like the easy Deus Ex Machina, like I'll just hack everything and fix it.
Yeah, he's kind of fun because he's condescending, right? Like like everybody's an idiot.
Pretty much.
And that's my favorite moment was when he looked at Lois as like, oh, I don't do emotions, human emotions.
Yes.
I think he says human emotions.
Yeah. Or the other moment was when Krypto bashes one of the T-spheres, and he's like, like my T-sphere.
Yeah, well, that's a great moment too, right? When Krypto sees it, and he's like, oh no. Yeah, you see Krypto see it, and he's like, oh no. That's pretty fun.
Okay, I had to say I laughed, but I also felt really sad for him when they remember they trapped him in that thing, and they were projecting squirrels into his mind, and he was just forever like chasing them like in some weird purgatory. I thought that was both clever and depressing.
Yeah, a lot of weird dog trauma in this film. That is something that is in the movie. There's another dog during that kaiju sequence. Is that Krypto or is that another dog?
No, it was another dog, and he's like, too.
Yeah. Another dog. Yeah. So there's a lot of dog stuff. I don't know what's going on there. That's a weird thing.
Yeah, so traumatic that Jeremy is frozen.
Yeah,
again.
Yes, possibly. Oh, he's back.
You're back.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, sorry you froze, Jeremy. While we were talking about
I do that.
The rest of there's so much to unpack here. But anyway, thank you, guests.
Yes.
Jeremy and Sammy, thank you so much. That I don't think could have had this as amazing a discussion without you guys, honestly.
Yeah,
This was great.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
very thankful that Sammy was here, because when I watched the movie and I didn't have super strong feelings about it, after telling you how excited I was about it, I was like, uh-oh.
I was
I'm
like,
not sure how
oh,
much I'm going to
my
have to
appearance.
say.
Right. What am I going to bring to the table?
and for those who don't know, again, we kind of made jokes about it, but for those who don't know, Jay and I've known each other for, through the internets for 17 to 18 years.
Nope.
Whoa.
This is the first time we've ever done a show together, I think.
Yeah, I think so. First show. I think we did a book club together once.
Okay.
With Aaron.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the first time we've looked at each other.
Yeah, it's the first time we've looked at each other and talked. Yeah, but it's crazy. That's a crazy thing about this world we live in now. I got all these friends that I know and that would give me the shirt off their back, and I would do the same thing, and it's crazy. Yeah. It's that community. It's just awesome to bring everybody together. So that's another reason again to do this kind of thing, right? It's that communal feeling, and so I usually don't have a lot to say about comic book films, but every now and then I'll come on the show and do it, and it's worth it.
We're glad you did. Thank you, both of you, for coming on. All right, so we got a little pod roll going on. If you love us, you'll certainly love our Podfathers. Sammy's podcast, Gentleman's Guide to Midnite Cinema, I think inspired all of us. It's how we all connected.
17 years in 2 months. 17 years.
Wow. And you're on episode 825 or something?
734 or something like that. But I mean, there's a lot more.
It's a lot.
It's
a lot.
And hour 7 trillion.
Yes, so many hours. And we didn't record actually this morning because I accidentally. So this is the world we live in too. I got to bring this up because it's part of this film review. Actually, I accidentally blocked Will somehow, or my kids did on my phone, and so our texting was not going through to each other. So I thought he was like, "Oh, screw it, I'm not going to do it." And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go back to bed." So we didn't record this morning. So now we got to record on Tuesday. So the episode's gonna be a little late, but. It's
oh my gosh,
this is the world we live in now. If he lives in Canada, I live here. He's one of my best friends in the world, and he lives all the way up there. So it's
an accidental blocking. How does that happen?
It happens more than you think. Trust me.
Wow. You need some Mr. Terrific in your life. And then of course, Troy and Brad over at Not a Bomb, who we also sort of referenced as well because we were talking about movies being 8s. Night of the Living Podcast, Wild Dream Podcast, Death by DVD, Raiders of the Podcast, Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zoe, and now for something a little bit different, that's our YouTube brother, John Horgan, Caliber 9 from Outer Space, Feminine Critique, Talk Without Rhythm with Goro. Mike, parting thoughts.
I'm just so happy to be here with all 4 of you. This is just amazing. It's been a great summer, and just spend time talking movies with Sam, who I've never got to actually meet. So this is just amazing. This is our super episode. I'm really glad we had this big supersized episode to spend time with Sam and Shempy and Cupcake and the Beast. And I'm loving life. I've had a great summer, and I've enjoyed this podcast so much. And this has been awesome. So keep getting out there, watch movies, get out there, go see some live music. I'm going to go see some 90s shit here in about 4 hours. Me and my sister are going to go see Collective Soul and fucking live.
Nice. There we go.
Another marker of oldness, Collective Soul.
Some nostalgia, man.
Gives me a chance to play. Yeah.
As always, folks, be kind, like Superman, and everyone here, be kind, be open, be vulnerable. That's where the art is. I'll see you all next week. What are we reviewing next week? What is it? I don't know.
I know what you did last summer.
Oh, I know.
Does that mean I'm not going to get you guys' thoughts on Eddington?
Oh, is that coming out? What?
Yeah, it's
next week too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Smurfs, I think, are the 3 releases.
Oh, fuck that movie.
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but Rihanna Smurfette.
Yeah, she is.
Jesus Christ. How she gets top billing, I don't know. I bet every voice actor on that cringed when they saw the posters. They were like, fucking Rihanna?
The only
Well, Katy Perry was her in the second movie. So
I'm goddamn Papa Smurf, and that bitch has top billing. That's exactly how I would react.
Yeah.